Now, before we move on to the next section, we need to do something very, very important. And that is make sure that our test fails. Can you imagine there are actually people out there who write tests that never fail? Why? Because people just make mistakes, and sometimes they don't really realize that they've created a test that is never going to fail. How silly is that? Can you imagine if your test is trying to make sure that some functionality works and then it never fails, so it never tells you if the functionality is broken? That is crazy. That is probably the most important thing that you need to do, is to make sure that a test fails. Because if you know that a test fails correctly, you can also assume that it passes correctly. So let's do that. And the way to do that is to go into this is_at method, and then instead of my membership, I'll just cut this out and call it donkey balls. And then I'll go back to our test and do run. And if our test was designed well, it's going to fail because we're not going to open the donkey balls page. We can also do the same thing just by simulating a bad login. Anyway, while this page loads, our test has successfully failed. Awesome. Let's take a look how that failure looks. So you can see this stack trace over here. So this test failed. And if we click here, you can see the error messages. The assert is true failed. A valid user was not able to successfully log in, which is this message that we passed here. And then it kind of shows you the stack trace that it was here at line 19, which is awesome because a valid user was not located at the donkey balls page. He was located at my membership page. So I'm just going to replace that back. Now our test is successfully gonna pass if we rerun it, and we're good to go. Now, before you proceed to the next section and analyzing the theory and the architecture of the framework, I want you to be able to write this test on your own. You can follow along with my examples if you want, but you need to have a working test by the end of this video so that you can be ready to move on to the next section. It's going to be very important for you. All right, see you guys there.